I'm Donal, forest owner from County Offaly. I'm on my site here in the townlet of Donal. It's in North Tipperary. The site is a 37-hectare site consisting of broadleaf and fir as well, split about 60-40 in favour of broadleaf. The site is 25 odd years old at this stage now. It has been tinned recently. It's kind of a combination of first and second tinnings. The second tinnings mostly have gone for firewood, with some stake and pulp from the conifers as well. So my experience with the forestry to date, it's been, I suppose, a challenge. I can call it that, or I can call it an education as well. The forestry itself is something that my family invested in, as I'm saying, back in 1997. It was a decision made back then to actually plant the ground as my dad was retiring. My experience is much different than anybody else's. We're not farmers anymore. I'm not from a farming background. So coming in on site and dealing with forest managers and the contractors, that kind of was a learning curve in itself as well. I felt I had to go and give myself not a lot of time to meet these guys, try and educate myself as well, and to try and understand what the market was. Yet again, no experience of that. If you're a farmer, you can look out the field and you can see your crop or your stock and you can quantify it very, very easily. However, forestry is much different in my experience. The forestry, trees are trees. Unless you're brought up in that industry, it's going to be something very, very new to you. So having somebody to be able to step in there and practically hold your hand is obviously of a huge benefit to both you and to the actual crop moving forward. As I mentioned, the site is 37 odd hectares in total. So in today's scale, from a private owner, it's quite, in the medium to large scale in that sense. A lot of, obviously, creature sites are far bigger, but yet again, they're managed commercially. So I felt that being here on site, meeting the contractors, discussing what they needed to do was quite stressful. They obviously are professionals in their field. They understand what they need to do. However, this is obviously new to me. They, on a daily basis, don't need to actually have to explain what they're doing because they'll be dealing with clients that are probably more commercially minded. So being a private individual is a little bit alien to them, most likely as well. So following up from the biggest obstacle to date that everybody knows of is obviously the forest licensing system. And we were actually quite lucky at the time to get ahead of the curve and manage to actually get a license in place. However, that challenge being overcome was just one of many, unfortunately. The next was obviously the crop itself. As I mentioned, if you've got stock, you can quantify it in a field. If you've got tillage, you can see it. You can see how it's progressing on a weekly or monthly basis, weather dependent, etc. Unfortunately, with timber, yet again, there is no quantifying of timber on a private scale. There is on a commercial scale, but not privately. You can't go to the journal once a week and say, oh look, timber pricing is this, roadside or per tonne. Industry pricing on timber is limited, if not non-existent, in my opinion. When it came to the sale of the timber, there was no obvious solution at the time. Unfortunately, you have to go and deal either with your own contractor and then relay it back to the mills or any other producers locally or within the country as well. However, it's either left up to you or else up to your manager to go and do this on your behalf. Yet again, if you're on site all the time, that's fine. If you don't have time, if you're a full-time farmer, if you're working somewhere else, that's where you're time critical and it's a problem straight away. Having a fully managed sales solution is now something that I can see huge benefit in. The fact that you can now lift the phone, speak to somebody who can now manage the whole process from beginning to end and be also able to liaise on a daily, hourly, as little or as much as you need basis is obviously worth its weight in gold. Every forest and every forest owner is unique and different. Tradeforus Forestry will offer a unique solution tailored to your needs. If I was to do this again, I would definitely recommend Tradeforus Forestry, as it would make the process far simpler and more straightforward. And that would have been a perfect solution for my situation.